one time in Asgard, when it was fairly new, Thor was off in the east, hammering on some trolls, and the gods were left defenseless. So they decided, we need to build a wall. So they put out a call for builders, and this one builder showed up. And he discussed the plans for the wall, and the gods liked it. So he said, well, yes, you sound like a competent builder. You seem to be our man. What would you like in payment? And he said, for payment, I would like Freya's hand in marriage, and the sun and the moon. The gods gasped. How dare he? How dare he ask us to give him the sun and the moon? Of course, Freya, nobody consulted Freya on this, but, she was used to people asking for her hand in marriage for payment. Anyway, so the gods thought to talk amongst themselves, and Loki had this idea. So it's like, well, why don't we put a condition on it? Just say like, oh, you have until the snow thaws to build the wall, and if you don't do it in that time, then we don't have to pay you. And gods were like, oh, this is an truly excellent idea. So Odin said to him, give him the conditions, and the giants said, yes, we'll do this. And they shook on it and made an oath to say that this was their agreement. So the next day, the builder came with to build the wall, and he had these huge slabs of rock pulled by his giant horse, Svadilfari. And the wall went up very quickly. So this giant horse, Svadilfari, able to pull these big bricks and rocks, and so the wall went up quite ahead of schedule. And the snow was almost thawed, and the wall was near completion, and Freya was getting increasingly angry with the gods. And the gods also were panicking because, they were going to have to give the builder the sun and the moon and Freya's hand in marriage if the builder was as likely able to complete the wall in time. So they turned on Loki. They said, Loki, this is all your fault. You're the one who suggested that we build with this plan. So you do something, you fix this, or else, So the next day, the builder brought his big blocks, and he built the wall, and he had about 1 day's labor left. But just as the builder and his horse were going to go off, this beautiful mare trotted out of the woods, and the builder's horse, Svadilfari, looked, and she looked back at him, and she whinnied, and he was like, hello, and so he trotted over, and she looked at him and, strangely enough, batted her eyes, if horses knew how to bat their eyes, and she galloped off a little ways into the forest, and so Svadilfari went after her, and the builder was like, hey, wait, come back, and tried to give chase to his horse, but the mare was fast, and Svadilfari was fast, and both were much faster than the builder. So and the builder gave up and pulled his own sleigh back to where he came from, and the horse, gave chase. Svadilfari slowed down, and it caught up to the slowing down mare, but then she'd speed off again, and off they went deep into the woods. The next day, the builder came back, and the snow had completely melted, and yet the wall had just a little bit left. And the gods went out and said, well, sorry, you almost made it, but, no, snow's melted. Terms of the agreement, unfortunately, you don't get the sun and the moon and Freya's hand in marriage. And the builder got angry. So the gods had somehow tricked him, because of course they were behind this. Why else would his horse have run off into the woods if not for the gods' magic or whatever? And he transformed into his true giant self. And just as he was about to slay the gods, from the east came this whizzing sound, and suddenly a thunk as Thor's hammer smashed him in the head and killed him. And soon Thor was on his way and followed his hammer, and the gods were safe and happy, and because they had most of a wall, but they didn't really, and Thor, which was pretty much enough to make up for that black in their defenses. pretty soon people started to notice, hey, where's Loki? He should be here celebrating too. I mean, after all, we didn't have to kill him for losing us the sun and the moon and Freya. But they just shrugged it off. Oh, he's probably just gone off in Jotunheim with one of his giant mistresses again. But months began to pass, and people sort of got to wondering. And suddenly, one day, Loki came back to Asgard, and this horse, this really funny horse with 8 legs, was sort of trotting behind him. And so the gods came out and they're like, say, Loki, where have you been? He's like, oh, nowhere, you know me, just hanging out with my giant mistresses in Jotunheim. And they're like, what's the horse? And he's like, oh, this is Sleipnir, my horse that I found as a gift for you, Odin. And so that's how the gods got their defensive wall, and how Odin got his magnificent horse Sleipnir of the 8 legs, who is faster than all horses in all the realms and can travel the realms through the sky to the other realms.
Yeah.